When I was 11, my mother told me to get dressed for a surprise. I thought we were going somewhere fun. She drove me to a stranger's house. The man opened the door, confused. "This is your problem now," she told him. Before I could speak, she shoved my backpack into his hands and walked away. I chased her car barefoot until my legs gave out. The man fed me soup that night, silent the whole time. I cried myself to sleep. 12 years later, I saw her at the grocery store. She froze when she recognized me. I leaned in and whispered, "You'll wish you'd never left me." 3 months later, she was homeless. "You don't get to walk in here after 12 years and tell me what I owe you." My voice cracked, but I didn't care. My hands were clenched so tight, my nails cut into my palms. "I'm still your mother," she said, like those words were supposed to mean something. Family helps each other. Family doesn't throw their kid onto a stranger's porch and drive away. I could feel my chest heaving. I had sworn I'd never raise my voice to her again. That promise died the second she walked into my apartment. "My name's Ethan Cole. I'm 23, and I've been holding a war in my chest since I was 11 years old. I'm not the angry type. Or at least, I wasn't. But life has a way of hollowing you out when you're left on someone's doorstep like unwanted mail." The family players. Linda Cole. My mother. 59. Charming in public, ruthless in private. Mark Cole. My father. 62. Retired police officer, distant but never cruel. Left when I was 8. Abby. My half-sister. 27. Dad's daughter from another marriage. Resentful. Robert Grant. The man who took me in. 6'7". Now, never asked for me, but never threw me out. Her eyes darted to the coffee mug in her hands, spinning it slowly, as if the swirling liquid might hide the truth. I knew that look, the way her gaze slid away like oil on water. It was the same expression she wore the night she left me. Only this time, she wasn't abandoning me physically. She was gutting me financially. "It's just a signature, Ethan," she began, too lightly, as though the weight of $48,000 was just paper. "They can't come after you if I pay it off." But her hands trembled when she set the mug down. "You already missed 6 payments," I said, my voice low, deliberate. "They've already come after me." For a second, something flickered in her eyes. Not shame, not guilt. Fear. And that was when I realized. This wasn't about a mistake. This was about survival. Hers, not mine. "Do you think I wanted to do this?" she asked, her tone rising, trembling on the edge of breaking. Her eyes were wet, but I'd seen her cry before. Usually when she needed something. "Yes, I do. Because you've done it before," I said, leaning forward. Only difference is, I was too young then to understand. From the corner, Abby shifted her weight, arms crossed like she was bracing herself. "You always make yourself the victim, Ethan. Maybe you should stop blaming Mom for your problems." Her words were a match to dry kindling. "You weren't there," I said, my voice cutting through the air. "You were sleeping in your warm bed while I was chasing her car down a dark street barefoot, 11 years old, screaming her name." The room went silent. Abby looked away. Mom's lips pressed into a thin line. And I realized, silence wasn't always peace. Sometimes it was just the sound of people realizing they couldn't rewrite history. The memory hit me like a cold wind. The night smelled like rain and exhaust. My feet were raw from the asphalt, my chest burning from running. Her taillights blurred in my tears. I ran until they disappeared, until the sound of the engine faded into nothing. By the time I stumbled back to Robert's porch, the night had swallowed me whole. Robert opened the door without a word. He didn't ask questions, didn't tell me she'd be back. He just placed a steaming bowl of chicken soup in front of me. I remember my hands shaking so badly I nearly spilled it. The broth burned my tongue, but I kept eating. I needed something, anything, to keep me from falling apart. When I finished, he slid a blanket across the table. It wasn't just fabric. It was the first thing in my life no one had taken back. Back in the present, I sat still, watching her. She thought she was holding all the cards, but I'd been patient, and patient people learn things. "How's Terry doing?" I asked casually, leaning back. Her eyes snapped to mine, wide, unguarded. For the briefest second, the room tilted in her silence. Mark's voice cut through, sharp. You've been seeing him again." His jaw flexed. Terry was not just her boyfriend. Terry was married, still married. Abby's gaze darted between us, confusion mixing with something else. Suspicion. And I knew in that moment the ground beneath her loyalty was starting to crack. "You don't get to judge me," she shouted, the pitch of her voice splintering against the apartment walls. But her eyes, they didn't meet mine. She was looking at Mark, at Abby, anywhere but the truth. Mark stood, his chair scraping the floor. "Linda, you've been using everyone for years. This is the last straw." Abby's face was pale, her lips trembling like she wanted to speak, but couldn't decide whose side to take. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. "I'm not paying your debt, and if you try anything in my name again..." I paused, watching her flinch. "I'll make sure the police know everything." The way she froze told me she understood. The fight drained from her shoulders, and for the first time she looked smaller. She left in a storm of slammed doors and angry footsteps. Abby followed, her silence heavier than her words could have been. The echo of the door shutting still rang in my ears. Mark lingered in the doorway, his hands shoved into his jacket pockets. "I didn't know she left you like that." "You weren't there," I said. Not cruelly. Just the truth. His eyes softened, but there was something breaking inside them. Guilt, regret, maybe both. And for a moment, I saw him as a man, not just as the absence that shaped my childhood. I didn't need his apology. I needed to know I could walk away. Weeks blurred into each other. I froze my credit, closed accounts, built walls no one could forge a signature over again. The debt collectors stopped calling. For the first time in years, silence wasn't a threat. It was peace. Robert and I began meeting for Friday dinners. Sometimes we talked about work, sometimes about the weather. Never about that night. We didn't need to. Some bonds are strengthened by what remains unspoken. Months later, I saw Abby in a grocery store. She didn't rush over, didn't smile wide, but she didn't look through me either. "You were right," she said quietly, her voice almost lost in the hum of refrigerators. Then she walked away. I didn't chase her. I didn't need to. I wasn't the barefoot boy running down a street anymore. I was the man who'd learned that survival sometimes looks like letting go. And for me, that was more than enough. If you've ever been left behind, betrayed, or treated like you didn't matter, know this. You are not the problem. Sometimes the best revenge is building a life they can't touch. What would you do if you were in Ethan's place? Would you confront them, forgive them, or walk away? Share your story in the comments. And if this hits you in the heart, hit subscribe for more real stories that matter.